Indian origin nurse Jacintha Saldanha was driven to suicide. This has been revealed in 3 suicide notes written by the Indian origin nurse. The UK media reports has accessed details of the 3 suicide notes written by Jacintha Saldanha, who was found in her apartment hanging from a scarf inside her wardrobe after the infamous prank call from 2 Australian RJs. In one of the notes, Jacintha claims she was constantly criticized by her colleagues at King Edward Hospital for falling for the RJ's ruse and helping reveal details about Kate Middleton's pregnancy. Jacintha's suicide note clearly revealed she was pressured and harassed for leaking news on the royal pregnancy. The second note, allegedly written by Saldanha, deals with the hoax call by the DJs from Today FM. The third heartbreaking note talks about what she wants for her funeral. 2 of the 3 notes were found at the scene and 1 with the nurse's belongings. Well, the suicide note directly nails the lies. The hospital authorities have been claiming Jacintha was not disciplined, but despite that she was protected from any criticism following the hoax call incident. The reality, however, is that Jacintha was obviously severely stressed after being shunned and criticized and maybe jibed at by her colleagues. Her note also says that the staff constantly misbehaved with her. Is there a race angle? Despite clear evidence in the form of Jacintha's notes that the hospital staff may have played a role in the nurse's suicide, UK authorities have not probed that angle just yet. This begs the question whether Britain's obsession with the royal family led Jacintha to suicide. By not revealing the details of the suicide notes, were UK authorities trying to take the heat away from the royal family? Further, will the radio jockeys in Australia be punished, and should they be punished? They may have cried for the cameras. The fact remains that it was their phone call that ultimately led Jacintha to her death. Headlines Today asks some direct questions from the British authorities. On what basis did UK authorities virtually close the case against Jacintha? Were they trying to cover up something? Have suicide notes not been revealed because the UK authorities knew they would have been exposed? Are UK authorities more concerned about shielding the royal couple than providing justice? Let's get a word in from Headlines Today's Lavina Tandon live from London. Also, Rohini Swami is with me from Bangalore. She's in touch with Lavina's extended, Jacintha's extended family here in India. Lavina, the kind of specifics that these notes go into sort of paint a much more specific picture, don't they now, about just why Jacintha may have actually committed suicide. It appears to be a case of harassment after that call.
It definitely does. The notes have
hospital into a very severely cornered questioning position, and as the family has been saying and maintaining since the beginning that they have a lot of questions in their mind, that this was not a woman who could have committed suicide so easily, so the hospital needs is answerable, and therefore there should be an independent full inquiry, and that stands to a lot of common sense now. That's something that needs to be done, because hospital has lots to answer. After she died, they said that there was no disciplinary action to be taken. We do not know what really happened before she died, and we clearly know that she was subjected to a lot of harassment or questions, or maybe her integrity, her entire career must have been at stake. So she definitely was under a lot of pressure, and hospital has a lot to answer.
Well, we certainly hope those answers will be forthcoming very soon, because at least so far the police in the UK hasn't been coming out with any hard answers on the culpability of people in King Edward's Hospital. Let's get a word in from Rohini Swami joining me from Bangalore. Rohini, what is Jacintha's family saying? You know, there's always been this sense that race could have had something to do with it.
Well, Jacintha's family in Mangalore, first of all, are extremely in shock. For the simple reason they're actually right now coming to terms with the fact that she committed suicide.
Yes.
And now this turn of events has shocked them further. More importantly, the family, ever since they heard the news about her suicide, have been making it very clear that she's a strong woman who could not be driven to suicide unless there was some reason. And obviously these letters are now pointing out allegedly to harassment. The family has been saying that a thorough investigation needs to take place. They're also seeking the intervention of the Indian government to expedite the investigation into the whole case. They've also been saying that the investigation be completed, people who are responsible for the death be brought to book. It's very clearly now here we can see how Jacintha in her letters has indicated towards alleged harassment to the hospital authorities, and that has obviously come true the fact the family believed that something was wrong, something was amiss, and they also said that she could not have committed suicide. She was not even in touch with her family in Mangalore. Neither did she at any point of time express that she was under such mental trauma.
Yes.
What they're expecting now is quick investigation, and also the fact that her body be brought back to Mangalore, to Udupi and Shirva in Udupi, so that the final rites also are performed.
Lavina, do we have a sense, do we have any specific information about who the police in London plans to question now in the light of this fresh information from these suicide notes?
Yes, definitely. The police are going to interview everyone involved in this case, which is the hospital. They are in touch with the Australian police because they will be questioning the radio station as well as the DJ.
Yes.
Because the final go-ahead to put the call on air came from the lawyers and the radio station. So we do not know yet who gave the final go-ahead, but radio station is definitely in the entire questioning order as well. So they're going to question the radio station and the jockey. If required, the jockeys will be called to London as well as the colleague who found Jacintha will be hopefully questioned. The security guard and colleague found her body, so her, not body, but her. They will be questioned. Other colleagues and staff and the management of the hospital will be questioned. Apart from that, anyone who could be related to the case and wants to come forward will be questioned, and the family as well will be taken into account.
Okay, I want to get in some voices from some prominent Indians and what they've thought about this particular case. It's developed very rapidly. Guru Prahlad Kakkar is with me on the phone line. Prahlad, there's a very real sense that this could have been a case of, very cruel harassment of this Indian nurse after she took that prank call at that hospital in London. And even the race angle, the fact that she was Indian is not being ruled out right now. What do you think, Prahlad?
No, it does matter that she was Indian.
Yes.
And it does matter that she was damn good at her job. Possibly far more conscientious than the British were themselves. And that because she slipped up and she made a genuine mistake, they must have really gone after her, with a vengeance. Because they can be very anal, sometimes. Especially when it comes down to the Queen and the royal family and all that sort of rubbish.
Yes.
So, the fact that she was of Indian origin, and the fact that she was an exemplary nurse within her own, category, and everybody who has talked about her said that she's exceptional, otherwise she wouldn't be in the position that she was in. And to have sort of made this genuine mistake, feeling so much remorse that it didn't take very much of harassment to actually be put over the edge.
Prahlad, thanks for speaking to Headlines today. We also have activist and lawyer Flavia Agnes with us for a reaction. Ms. Agnes, it's not so difficult to imagine, is it, now with this fresh information from Jacintha Saldanha's suicide notes, that there could have been some very terrible harassment at the hands of peers in that hospital, as a result of which she may have been driven to take this extreme step. What do you think, ma'am?
Yeah, I completely agree with the earlier speaker.
Yeah.
And I think as an Indian woman who treated as an outsider in any case, any sort of immigrant woman becomes exaggerated, and it's very likely that she was harassed, she was ostracized, she was humiliated, which she could not bear. And the tension of living in such situation must have been too much for her, which led her to the suicide. And I think there has to be very serious investigation and very strict action taken, because I feel it has a sort of a racist color to the entire episode.
Well, that is something that a lot of people are saying. We agree as well. There does definitely appear to be a racist color to this very tragic episode of Jacintha Saldanha. Flavia Agnes, thanks very much for speaking to Headlines today.